The Charles River Museum's Tuesday Tech Talk series is made possible by a grant from the Lowell Institute and by the support of our museum members. To become a member, visit charlesrivermuseum.org/join. To follow us here on YouTube, click subscribe and hit like if you enjoyed this video.
Hello guys, my name is Michael DiCamillo, and I have a hobby. I make robots out of found materials and different pieces of objects. I've been doing it for about 25 years. I have a woodworking business, and the building I'm in is a huge recyclable building. It's ginormous, and they get everything, so I'm able to go out in the yard and just go through parts and pick and choose what I want. But before I moved there, I would get everything from flea markets, yard sales, which took years and years. I love machinery. I had a couple of old woodworking machineries, pieces that I wasn't using anymore, so I took them apart. And when I took them apart, I laid them on the ground. As the parts were scattered on the ground, and I looked at it, perfect. And I'm thinking, whoa, that would be a perfect robot. So I started to assemble it. And then once I did this, I have to do this. This is my passion. And that's how it started. I go to flea markets. I did it for about 5 years and saved up all pieces and parts and I knew eventually what I wanted to do, but I never had enough pieces, so I had a whole room full of everything. Saved a bunch of parts, and one day I said, yep, started doing them. Little ones, bigger ones. And I got to the point where I could get one half done, but I couldn't find the right head, the right leg, and it took a long time, so I'd put that aside until I found the right piece, go back to it, and finish it. Some would take a month, 6 months, a year. What I normally do is take a bunch of my pieces and categorize them, and I'll save all these, all pieces out of chrome, black, flat, round, and kind of scatter them out. Put them in little bins, and once I start with the body, then it just takes a long time to just keep running back and forth to see what piece works, doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. Sometimes it does. So it's kind of hit or miss. Or sometimes I make one and it won't stand up. I like it, but it won't stand up. So crazy things like that. And the one thing about every robot I make, there's only one in existence. If somebody said, oh, can you make me one of those? It's impossible, because there's no way I can find all these parts, because they take years and years and years and millions of flea market visits to get. So all these are only one of a kind, one in the entire world exists, which makes them kind of interesting to me even more. So these particular parts, a lot of people try to name the parts, and I know every single part on here. This is actually an exercise bike right here. This is a computer hard drive piece. This little hand, how elderly people, the little claw where you go up in your cabinet, get a can of soup, that's what that's from. And the heads are my favorite. These are from a Dyson vacuum. The baskets are from a magazine rack. People ask me, do you name your robots? And I say, nope, I give them all numbers, like we have Social Security numbers, but I only name one, this one. And the reason I did that is I don't describe my robots, oh, that's beautiful, because they're mechanical machines. But this one is beautiful to me, and her name is Alexis, because she's a female robot looking through the sextant, trying to find her way. I hope you like it. In these two robots right here, there's a husband and wife. I call these the atomic family. The hardest part about these particular robots were the heads. They were hard to come by. This is a taillight from a Toyota 4Runner. This is a coffee pot, an old coffee pot from the 50s. But that coffee pot cracks me up because it reminds me of the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still, and the flying saucer opens and he zaps all the soldiers. And this is an original from 1962 or 1960, the atomic bomb instructions. You know, when Cuba was doing their thing and the Russian nuclear type of stuff, and when Johnson had the commercial with the little girl with the daisy, remember that? So that's about that time era right there. The Geiger counters, I found these at a flea market, and they're the original original deal. These particular gauges, I love gauges of all kinds. Some of them are from old boiler rooms, some of them are medical, and I think that they add a lot to it. This is an electrical meter from a house. This is a cluster to a Ducati motorcycle. And all the gauges, some of them are really old, some of them are from steam boilers, some are from electronics, so it all kind of goes together. And this little guy is the offspring of these beautiful parents. And the parts on this little guy said is from a kerosene heater. This is a disc pad from a motorcycle. This little thing here is one of those little shopping cart things you open up, you go to the store, bring back some stuff. And if you notice, the legs on all of them, so they're from the same family. So the husband behaved himself. And also, I can't tell if this little guy kind of resembles the mom or the dad, whatever you guys think. So this particular piece is what happened in 2020. You put a robot in quarantine, this is what happens. And the pieces that make up this actually came from a press that actually prints t-shirts. These are just parts from a machine. And these are just miscellaneous parts I found. Just odds and end pieces I found. And I got something wicked cool over here. This one's pretty cool. Every time I look at a magazine and see an advertisement for robots, you always see the hand or the arm or the arm or the hand, that's it. So I said, I'm going to make one. And it attaches, behind, this piece of Velcro goes behind my shirt and ties to my belt because it's fairly heavy. And you wear it this way. It goes on like that. Pretty cool, huh? This one I really love. This is an electric motorcycle. These motorcycles are called zero motorcycles. It's the newest generation of battery technology, which is phenomenal. I love the proportions of this robot. The parts, the head's a Dyson vacuum. That was on the white one earlier that you saw. The ears, the influence of these are from the Chappie robot that I love. I'm pretty sure you guys know who that is. And the Dyson vacuum is complete here, which makes a perfect body proportion. The shoulders are from an air compressor. The arms right here are from when you put Tyvek on a house and you have a stapler called a whammer. That's what this is. This piece that the robot sits on is for your computer monitor, which articulates, fits on this, goes on your desk. These pieces are when you put tile in your bathroom, and you want, these are borders, they're called borders, they go on the edges where the wall ends. And the leg and foot are the hardest piece I could find. This is an office chair arm. This project took about 2 years to finish. Because before I had the robot done, I'd ride the motorcycle around in the parking lot. So. I also make little guys, little ones. And these are interesting because some of the parts on them are really interesting. Like this little guy right here, I call him Vacation because he's got the binoculars. When I was a kid, I actually had a pair of these, and I think everybody did. Remember when you were a kid, you had that little viewfinder deal, whatever they call that? But you know, my grandmother gave me these pair of binoculars, which didn't do me any good because I couldn't see anything, so sometimes I'd hold them backwards. And parts are interesting. Some of these are from machinery. This guy I called, what time is it? Because the parts came from a grandfather's clock. An old gauge right here. Another part that who knows where I got it. This is from a machine. And the head on this one matches his brother right here. Heads are the same. An old gauge. These were stands off a machine that made perfect legs. Just pieces I found. So the little ones are just pieces I found. But this guy's interesting. This is this particular gauge right here comes off an old burner from the 1930s. And the name of the gauge is called smoke capacity. So I thought of that, and the eyes, can you tell what these are? These are two sprinkler heads. This is a meat thermometer. Like, when you're making a hot dog in a barbecue and you can stick it in there when you're cooking meat. So this is a pretty unique one. And these things take a long time to actually make the parts fit. Sometimes I have to bolt them or make brackets. A lot of times I have to make individual brackets so they'll stay. So it's extremely time consuming because nothing is made to fit. Every single piece is not made to go on something that it's not meant to be used for. This guy I love too. What I love about him is the head. It's an antique mailbox door, post office box door. These are really hard to find. This is a piece from an electrical machine, old gauge. The feeder from another machine. These are just electrical parts. And that's a pretty neat one. Going around the other side of my little guys, see if you can guess what that is. Most people can't. It's from an old typewriter. These are where the ribbons go around. This is from when I had a Canon 35 millimeter camera. This is the winder, that one under it, the winder motor. This is from an old lamp, old gauge. And this base right here is actually from a countertop appliance, a blender, an old antique blender. This guy right here, all my friends say, wow, he kind of looks like you. And this whole piece is from a screen printing machine. It's a clamp when they make t-shirts. This piece is from a machine. And it's a simple base. And it's simple because he's an infant, just a small child that hasn't developed legs yet. So that's that guy. This little guy is basically little. This is a little bit bigger guy, but this is the baby. This gauge is from a machine that somebody had disassembled, and I loved it. I have two of these. And what's interesting, it says error. This piece is an electrical meter that goes on the side of your house. And this is the other part to the Canon winder that was on the other one. This is the arm that goes on the camera, 35 millimeter camera. So when this robot was developed as a child, something went wrong. One arm, no legs, the internal components are showing. So this is just a little guy who's been a mistake. It says it right here. This little guy right here is just a happy guy. Feet, the way his feet is, the expression, his eyes, his arms. This is just a happy little robot, miscellaneous parts and pieces. I think what inspired this one is the particular day I made it, I was probably extremely happy. Like extremely. So.
You made them in one day?
Yep. This one I made in one day because I had the parts laying down on my table and I kept moving them around and moving them around. So this one went pretty quick. This was when I first started doing small ones. These are like when I first started. And the head is a solenoid from a machine. This piece was actually one of these pieces. So I made these two in the same week. This little guy right here. The head is simple, but I like it. But this is really interesting. This is a part to a bomb site from a B-52 airplane. There was another part that fit on here, and that's how they would dial in to get the precise coordinates to drop things. That's what this is. This is from a telescope. This is from a machine. But this is so cool. These are old clamps that they used to use for leather. But it's interesting because the parts are so unique. I think that's what makes these more interesting. These little guys, I really can't explain how they came about, just like putzing around, sitting there, messing around. This is from a stove handle, the side of it. These are just electrical connections. This is a little air solenoid manifold down here. And this is a dial to this manifold. So it's pretty easy. If you follow me, there's a few more upstairs I want to show you guys. This guy right here was the first one I made. First robot. This took a long time. When you go to the eye doctors, when you get an eye exam, called a propopter, that's how they pronounce it, I believe. These are flashlights, little flashlights. The holders are from a motorcycle headlight bracket. Those are the holders. Shoulders are from a machine. This is from a Meade telescope. These pieces are from the machine that I took apart, except this. This is my desk lamp one day stopped working. That's my desk lamp. But this piece, the legs are from that piece of machinery that I pulled apart. The feet are actually clamps that go on a t-shirt printing machine that they clamp the piece and screen and it brushes the ink along. But all these pieces are from the piece of machinery that I had that I pulled apart. And that's what got me started. When I did this, I'm like, I have to do this. I love these. But it's wicked heavy. I love this guy. Then he has a daughter, a teenage daughter right here, playing the flute, wearing antique roller skates. This is a part to a machine. The head is another propopter when you go to the eye doctors. But there was a piece missing, which makes it even cooler. Shoulders smaller. This is a scale. Like a scale you put small objects on. Piece to a grandfather's clock. And the hand is a very unique thing. It's a medical device used when people have skin grafts. That's what that is. Nobody in a billion years would guess it. And a little dog for protection. The head of the dog is an antique propopter, one of these. And the feet are antique shoe stretchers. And the mother of this family is around the corner over here, which I'll show you in a bit. I love these. This is the mom. I love this robot. The head, a propopter, but I love the color blue. The heart, as you can see, is lit with pure love. The upper chest is a scale, as the daughter has a scale, the same type of thing. The arm is parts that I found, and the sprocket is from a bicycle. The shoulders match the shoulder of the daughter and the husband. The feet are the old shoe stretchers, but they're a child shoe stretcher and an adult, which makes the foot. These pistons are from that same machine that are on the father's legs. So all these three robots tie in together for their family, as the ones downstairs with the same legs, the atomic family, all ties together. And as the little ones, sometimes two tie together, brothers, two. So all these robots are an assemblance of families, brothers, sisters, children, and animals. So I just love these, and I hope everyone loves these. Thank you very much.